Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're basically going to put you through detective training to unlock the hidden meanings in everyday life. Because think about it, every single day you are completely surrounded by hidden messages. They're in the conversations you overhear, the images you pass by, the texts you read. The art of actually uncovering those hidden truths, that's called making inferences. And honestly, it's an absolutely crucial critical thinking superpower.
Here's our syllabus for today's detective training. First up, what is an inference? Then, decoding visual clues. Third, reading between the lines. Fourth, uncovering hidden literary meanings. And finally, fact versus opinion. It's an escalating journey, starting from simple cartoons and going all the way up to the final boss level of abstract poetry.
All right, Section 1. What is an inference? Consider this your detective's toolkit. You've probably heard the phrase reading between the lines, right? It just means picking up on ideas that aren't stated directly. To become a better reader and a stronger thinker, we use a core formula. Step 1, observe the facts or clues. Step 2, apply your life experience and general knowledge. And Step 3, make an informed guess strictly based on that evidence. So the crucial point is how these 3 steps work together. Imagine walking down the street. You see a large crowd outside a shop, there's broken glass all over the pavement, and you hear people talking really loudly. Before you even get to the shop, your brain combines those facts with your life experience, and you make an informed guess. An accident just happened. That right there, that's an inference in action.
Moving right along to Section 2, decoding visual clues, finding the hidden story.
Let's put our new formula to the test on some non-linguistic visual clues. Now, the challenge here is to rely solely on the evidence right in front of us, rather than jumping to wild conclusions. I'm going to show you a scene. I want you to really examine the clues and figure out the true story before we reveal the answer. Ready?
Take a good look at this scene on a public bus. We've got a woman and a man sitting next to each other. Notice the hard visual facts here. The man has this very smug expression, and he's actively smoking. Now look at the woman's unhappy face. She is clearly upset. And look at her hand. She's pointing her finger directly past him. Using your own life experience, what is she pointing at? Let's systematically cross out the illogical leaps here. Is she just asking for something? Well, her angry expression doesn't really fit that at all. Is she having problems seeing through the smoke? Maybe, but that definitely doesn't explain the pointing. So is she pointing to a no smoking sign? Yes! The combination of his cigarette smoke, her angry face, and the fact that she's pointing while on a public bus logically supports the conclusion that she's indicating a no smoking sign. See? We solved it.
Okay, let's check out our next crime scene. Now, what's really interesting about this scene is the specific details the artist chose to include. We have a man sitting incredibly close to the television set. Notice that he's wearing thick glasses. And in the background, there's a boy sitting on the floor reading a book.
Let's look at our suspects for the correct inference. Could we infer that the father cannot read? Absolutely not. There's zero evidence for that just because he's watching TV. What about the boy? Is he doing his homework? I mean, it's tempting, right? But look closer. There's no school bag, no notebooks. He just has a book. Assuming it's homework is an illogical leap. So what does the visual evidence actually support? It supports that the man has a problem with his vision, he has glasses on and he's inches from the screen, and that he probably watches a lot of TV, which logically connects to his vision issues. That is exactly how you stick to the facts.
Section 3. Reading between the lines. Text-based clues. Let's move you up the scaffolding from pictures to text. In writing, authors provide the facts, sure, but it's totally up to us to make the logical jumps. Listen to this scenario and picture it in your mind. A man enters his office building, marches past a group of fellow employees without returning their greetings, and goes into his office, slamming the door. Okay, using only the text provided, what can we deduce just happened?
Did the man just lose his job? Did he get into a fight with his boss? Is he furious with his wife? I mean, all of those are possibilities, for sure. But is there a single word in that sentence about a boss or a wife? Nope. Honestly, if he was angry with his wife, he probably would have slammed a door at home. The only solid evidence-based conclusion we can logically draw from him marching, ignoring people, and slamming a door is simply that the man is in a bad mood.
Let's try one more text clue. The Arabic language contains numerous words describing different types of camels. Think about the implied meaning behind this linguistic fact. Use your logic. What does this tell us about the broader world?
First, let's eliminate the bad guesses. The text certainly doesn't say only one camel exists. It doesn't imply a comparison to English at all, so comparing the two is a total leap in logic. And it definitely doesn't mention dates. The correct inference is that the exact nature of camels is vitally important to the desert way of life. In fact, our source material points out a fascinating fact. In Arabic, there's a specific word to describe a camel that has given birth to 2 male babies. Think about that. When a language develops that level of specificity, you can confidently infer that the subject is absolutely central to that culture's existence.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, uncovering hidden literary meanings, telling versus showing.
We're graduating to the realm of literature now, where inference literally becomes an art form. Creative writers don't just tell you things, they show you. Look at this stark juxtaposition. A nonfiction approach simply says, Henry was angry at his wife. Boom, stated clearly as a fact. But the creative writer? They write, Henry's eyes narrowed when his wife spoke to him. He cut her off in the middle of the sentence. Notice how the writer never actually uses the word angry? Instead, they force us to use our detective skills to infer Henry's emotional state through his physical actions. It visually encapsulates that aha moment of discovery that makes reading literature so deeply rewarding.
Let's apply this to poetry. Let these words by James Russell Lowell sink in for a second. As life runs on, the road grows strange, with faces new, and near the end, the milestones into headstones change, neath every one a friend. Now, its really crucial context here is that this poem is titled 68th Birthday. The poet doesn't explicitly state that he's 68, but the title strongly implies it. And look at that vivid metaphor. Milestones on a road changing into headstones over graves. It brilliantly implies the sad reality of aging, that as the years pile up, more and more friends pass away. The whole shebang is implied, never bluntly stated.
Here's another amazing one by Carl Sandburg, titled Fog. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking on harbor and city, on silent haunches, and then moves on. So what's the fog's nature here? The poet never explicitly tells us the fog is fast or that it's quiet, but look at the visual comparison. A cat's little feet and sitting on silent haunches. We instantly infer the fog's nature. It floats in silently, sits quietly observing the city, and then temporarily moves on without making a single sound. It's just a perfect visual puzzle.
All right, Section 5, Fact versus Opinion, the final boss.
You've learned to infer meaning, but now you must face the ultimate test of a strong thinker, distinguishing a factual statement from a subjective opinion masked as a fact. Read this sentence carefully. The economy, in fact, is in the worst shape it's been in for years. At first glance, this looks like a concrete statement of truth. I mean, it literally uses the phrase, in fact. But put on your detective hat for a second. Is this reporting an observed reality or interpreting it? It's interpreting it. Why? Because of one very subjective word, worst.
And this brilliantly illustrates the concept of value words. Consider this your cheat sheet. Value words are your red flags. Words like good, best, lovely, terrible, disgusting, and worst. These words are purely subjective. They express judgment. Whenever you see these words, warning bells should go off, because the author is no longer reporting on observed facts, they are interpreting reality for you. They're giving you their opinion, even if they dress it up to look like an indisputable fact.
We've covered a ton of ground today, from bus cartoons to beautiful poetry to the subtle, sneaky traps of value words. So I want to leave you with this provocative question. When you consume information today, are you merely reading the words on the page, or are you actually uncovering the hidden truth? Remember, the absolute best way to sharpen this vital detective skill is simply by reading extensively for pleasure. Grab a novel, read a poem, and let your brain practice making those logical leaps. Keep reading between the lines out there, and I'll see you in the next explainer.